Hey guys, welcome to Maria Antoinette TV. I am Maria Antoinette, and today we are diving deep into how to make this DIY faux wallpaper that I did in my son's bedroom. The base for our stencil is going to be cardstock. I'm using an 8.5 by 11 inch cardstock, and right now you're getting ready to see me cut off 2 inches, making it an 8.5 by 9 inch cardstock. This is unnecessary if you're going to follow this whole video as is, but if you're only going to make 2 of these stencils, you want to do this part. Next, I'm going to measure in my margin. In my mind, I knew that I wanted to have 10 of these stencil marks on the wall. So taking my 8-foot high wall, I knew that I needed to divide that by 10 inches. So I'm doing a little bit of math here. I'm gonna skip all of that math part and just tell you it's 1 inch on the side and 1 3/4 inch at the top. Inside of this new corner that you just made is where our stencil will live. It is going to be 4 inches wide and 2.5 inches tall. Now let's create our lines. Using a ruler, I am going to notch every 1/2 inch from the top of the rectangle that we just drew. I'm going to connect those notches, and those are going to be my lines. This is how I know how thick my spacing is going to be. Everything worked out perfect because the height was 2.5. Next, I'm going to cut out the top rectangle, and I will skip the next rectangle and then cut the next one, and so on until I get to the bottom of the 4 by 2.5 rectangle. Do not stress this part. It does not have to be perfect. I repeated that process 3 more times, giving me 4 sheets. Now I'm going to measure 6 inches apart from the vertical lines and the horizontal lines. After measuring and taping all 4 of my individual stencils together, the one large stencil came to the measurements of 18 by 18. With everything measured and in place, I'm now able to just take my 8.5 by 11 inch cardstock and lay it on top of what we already created to make my second large stencil. This was part of a project that I challenged myself to do. I remodeled my son's room in 3 days on his spring break. And you guys, with these stencils, I was able to put a base coat on all 4 walls and stencil them and do all of like changing the bed. He went from a nursery bed or a day bed to a queen size bed, all of the decor, everything within those 3 days, okay? I'm telling you, this was a huge time saver. So remember when I told you guys, don't stress, it doesn't have to be perfect. I am not even using a ruler here when I cut those out. So just go for it, okay? Next, we're gonna take a basic, no scrubby side, just a basic dish sponge, and we're gonna cut it down to 4 inches across so it fits inside of those slots that we made on the stencil. Now this is still a little bit thicker than the actual slots, so I decided to cut the corners down to give it a little bit more of a rounded shape. Again, this does not have to be perfect. You just want it to be able to fit inside of that gap in the stencil. I started on the first wall, and I just literally moved all the way across all 3 walls from that spot, literally doing the technique you're about to see. I used a little bit of painter's tape, and I was able to hold the stencils on the wall, and because all of the measurements are exact, I just lined them up, taped them, and then dipped the sponge into the paint and took the sponge and dipped it into the slots on the stencil. And I repeated that. When I say quick, you guys, so quick. And the coolest part about it is none of the marks are identical, so it gives so much character to the wall. Like, if I wanted it to be heavier, I can do more paint on the sponge. If I saw that there wasn't an even like distribution when I pushed it into the stencil, I can come back and just push the bottom in to give it a little bit more depth and darkness. It's just a really simple and fun project. I had a lot of fun doing this. So much fun that I helped my girlfriend do it in her son's room. Like, it's just such an easy, fun project. I really also want to drive home the fact that this was super easy for me to do by myself. I've seen a lot of these projects where people had a laser and they leveled off and taped the whole wall in a grid, and it took 2 people to drag tape across the room. This is just so easy for one person to get the project done. Y'all remember that 3-day challenge I gave myself? Here's my son's reaction. Come on in.
Whoa! is what being a big boy is about, man.
What the heck?
You're not a little boy anymore.
Whoa. Maddie, come in. Come, Chris, come in.
G?
Whoa.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment, thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.